to represent Virginians, all of them, in the United States Senate. The next senator from the Commonwealth of Virginia, Jim Gilmore.
This is just a terribly warm reception in more ways than one here in Manassas, and I'm delighted to be here. This is our third stop, our Northern Virginia stop, and we're just thrilled to be here. Now, we decided today that if these folks could work outside in the heat, we could work outside in the heat, you know? So we wanted to do this right here in this wonderful site with John Gregory's construction company. John, is John still in the room? John, thank you very much for having us here at this wonderful construction site. Now, I want to thank these wonderful, distinguished leaders, public officials, General Assembly members, local elected officials, all of you, as well as, of course, the Lieutenant Governor and the Attorney General, and thank you very much for being here in support of this candidacy for Virginia's future. Now, I got to tell you, I watched this speech a few minutes ago being given by the Lieutenant Governor in his blazer, and he is a soldier, but I am not. I'm going to take Mr. Mayor Waldron, thank you very much for having us here in your lovely city of Manassas. I'm delighted to be here. This is a community I've been a part of for many years. Roxanne and I actually took a place in Alexandria. We have a condominium over there, and I've worked in the Northern Virginia community now continuously for years, as well as having a place in Richmond. I care a lot about this community. When I was the governor, we devoted a lot of attention to Northern Virginia and its opportunities. I know we put the Dulles Rail project on the rails and got the environmental processes moving forward so that it was moving along just the way that it was supposed to. I know that you can do things in transportation because we've done them here in Northern Virginia. When I became the governor of Virginia, there was not one dime that was available to rebuild the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. But people assured me that we really did need that bridge rebuilt. So I went over to the governor of Maryland, who was Paris Glendening, the Democratic governor of Maryland, and found we agreed on nothing, except one thing, building the Woodrow Wilson Bridge. And so we went to the United States Senate, and we saw John Warner, and we got the money, and we got that bridge built, and it's being opened right now. And we're very proud of that. And the Mixing Bowl. Yeah. And the Mixing Bowl. We put a great deal into that and got that up and running, and that has stayed on schedule this whole time and has now been a big help. It's hard to remember now what the Springfield Exchange was like before the Mixing Bowl was, in fact, put under construction. And George Mason University. I favored basically 3 universities above all others. I was really a higher education governor, but I really favored 3 colleges above all others. And those 3 were the 2 traditional African-American universities that I thought had fallen behind in the Commonwealth of Virginia, and George Mason University. Because the more I got to know about this lovely community up here, I understood the dynamic quality of it and how they wanted to have their own major university. They were doing very well. They were constructing like crazy, and I helped them out a lot by putting extra money into their budget. So I care a lot about this community up here, and I'm glad to be a part of it. This tour that we're doing now, this is the 3rd stop on the tour for working families here in Virginia. This United States Senate race is about working families in Virginia. And I know those working families. I've been a part of one all my life. I know the people, for example, who are here in this community, who are tied into our veterans community and our military community. I was very grateful for John McCain's support when he spoke yesterday and talked about how vital it was that we hold this seat, that I have an opportunity to be elected to the United States Senate. John McCain is a United States Navy veteran. I'm a United States Army veteran. We understand the lives of people who live in the military and who've formerly been in the military, and I'm very proud of all of that. This tour, this Senate candidacy is about working people, and that's what we're about here today. And what I want to talk to you about just very quickly, and then I'll answer any questions that any members of the press may have. First thing I want to do is I want to talk about the fact that we have a real problem here today that I'm looking at as I cross the Commonwealth of Virginia and talk to people. And that problem is that working families out there just are having a hard time making ends meet. They just are. Since I left the governorship, tuitions are up 41%. People feel burdened with higher and higher taxes that they're saying, particularly in Northern Virginia. It seems to be a constant burden. But people primarily are really concerned about this problem of high gas prices. This is a real challenge. I know people out here, there's regular folks out here, they're working sometimes 2 jobs just trying to make ends meet, or their wives are working at night or trying to do things to make ends meet. And meanwhile, we're talking about gasoline prices now that are a minimum of $4.25 a gallon, and in Northern Virginia it's higher than anywhere else. I know because I live here and I drive and I look at those gas prices. Well, at those kinds of gas prices, it takes between $75 and $80 now a month to fill up a gas tank. And people are having to do that in order to get to and from work. That is a reality that they're facing today. Times 4, which means they're paying over $300 a month now on gasoline prices. This is a serious problem that we're seeing right now, and we're going to do something about it. People are calling out for help, and we're going to help. And I say that we have to have a declaration of energy independence for the United States of America. The way we're going to do that is a comprehensive program, but one thing we know for sure, and that is that we have to free ourselves from this real challenge of being so subject to the problems of overseas oil supply. So we've got to do the right thing now. Once and for all, we've got to increase domestic oil production. We just have to do it. And that means that we have to drill in Anwar. We have to go to Alaska and drill in Anwar. We can do this consistent with the environment. We can do that. As a governor of Virginia, I was a good environmental governor. But we can't continue to have our best national resources taken off limits for us in a time of this kind of stress on regular working people out there. We just can't do it. And while we're at it, we have to be prepared to do additional work offshore and drill offshore for additional oil. We have to do that too. Now, that means that way over the horizon, several miles, a number of miles, we can do the appropriate drilling that we have to do, and we can do it consistent with the environment. And we have to use clean coal progress also. We have to make sure that we go forward and use the best resource that we have. And that resource amounts to the United States reserves in coal. 293 billion tons of proven reserves of coal in the United States of America. The technology is there to begin to burn that cleanly. We have to apply additional resources to do additional technologies, but we can't take that off limits. And then up the road, once we have done these things, have begun to bring these oil prices down now, then we've got to do some nuclear power as well. We've got to begin to move forward and have nuclear power in this country. We have to do that. Now, the policies of the Democrats in Congress, and really it's different from the regular Democrats we're seeing out there in the communities. Democrats in the communities know what kind of burdens they're under. But the Democrats in Congress have been following a pattern and a system for years and years that puts our energy resources off limits. It's time for a change. We have to do something to free our energy resources and have energy independence here in the United States. It's time for that change. Mark Warner says that we should not drill in Anwar. When time came that the bill came before him as governor with respect to offshore drilling, he vetoed that bill. So Mark Warner has not followed a pattern of wanting real energy independence. He is endorsed by the Sierra Club. He has said we should wean ourselves off of oil. I'm here to tell you that when Monday morning comes and working people go to work and begin to fill up their car, they can't wean on Monday. That's for sure. And we have to do something now to look after them. Now, the second issue